about this week is the idea of your song. The Bhagavad Gita translates to the song of God. Gita means the song, and the song of your song is really necessary. That's really kind of not really kind of that is what we're speaking about this afternoon, my friend Liz and I, about what it is to sing your song and really allow yourself to step back into exactly who you are. And I want to read you just a little bit of something from the Bhagavad Gita that Sri Brahmananda Saraswati wrote. Sri Brahmananda is from Ananda Ashram up in Monroe, New York, and his teachings have been vividly a part of who I am for many, many, many years. And he writes that the Gita means the song of God. And since God is eternal, omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient, therefore his song is also eternal, omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient, and it belongs to everyone. It is going on everywhere and in everybody's heart right now. So the life is a vibration of energy, and this vibration is natural music. This music is different from the music that we hear outside of ourselves. It needs nothing to be struck outside like a trumpet or a drum. It's that internal music. It is the music of life. And when this music becomes disturbed, the life becomes disturbed, and the dark forces start to occupy the mind. So the Bhagavad Gita, it talks about a battle between the light forces and the dark forces. And this battle is not an external battle, it's an internal battle. It's what you choose to live your life, whether you live it through the light of your being and the light of your soul, or the energy that becomes darkened by, this is just living in this world. I had a beautiful teacher, Joshua Green, talk about doesn't matter who you are or how much spiritual work you do. He likened it to being a car parking in the CVS parking lot. He says for days, it doesn't matter how shiny you are as you got to that parking lot, you will get dirt on you the longer you stay. And that is exactly who we are. We will be affected by the dirt that comes through the practice of being human. But the idea is, what song do you choose to sing? So the song of light, he says, our mind is a battlefield where we're continually going between light and dark. And there's no choice whether we have a war or no war. There's not even a single moment in time or a single point in space where there's not a war going on. It just depends, are you fighting the righteous war or the unrighteous war? The Gita gives us, poetically and symbolically, metaphorically and mythologically, the idea of how we can stay blind to our song or how we can step into real life where it begins, where we sing our own Gita, we sing our own song. So please try, he says, please try to go inside and fight this battle. Because if you don't fight the inner battle, you will only fight the outer battle, which is a battle that looks like the one that we work internationally, domestically, nationally, and socially. So if you go inside and do your work, if you work with your light forces and your dark forces, you find your inner music, no matter how different it might seem. I did something, and I'm going to share this later, but I think this is pretty funny. Let me see if I can find it. Um, okay, so I don't know. Have you guys ever looked up the definition of woo-woo? You know how everybody says, well, she's a little woo-woo. She does a little Reiki and she does a little meditation and she's a little woo-woo. Have you ever looked up what that means? Okay, here's what woo-woo means. Relating to or holding unconventional beliefs regarding as having little or no scientific basis, especially those relating to spirituality, mysticism, or alternative medicine. I think that's me. I think that's you. And this is the song that I want us to sing. So this is my craziness. This is my woo-woo today. I want us to dance first. And I want you to stand up. And as you stand up, I'm going to play a song, which I am dancing every single day. And it is one by Alicia Keys. Let me see. And breathe. Rise up. It's called Underdog by Alicia Keys. If you couldn't hear the words, do your best to look it up. It's so beautiful. Talks about when we look up and see each other and how much our world has turned into looking down and just being me. When you look up and you connect to another person, you let them play their Gita, their song, no matter how different it is from yours, no matter how different they may look, or even what they may think, it's their song. We have no right to take away anyone else's vision. But as we collectively come together, as we rise up in this time that's asking us to rise up, it's asking us to go back inside and see who we've always been. Who is the essence of you? And that is a part of you that needs to rise up, because that's a part of us that's necessary now. And that's why there's this evolution happening. That's why the universe shut us down. It said, take a little time out because you're not being you. Right? You're allowing yourself to move in this way that's continually creating a discord, right? A separation. And I'm talking to people that do this work. So when you go inside and you go, listen, this is my song and I want to sing it, and the world will open back up. Bring your hands together at your heart center. Inhale for the sound of Om. Om. Release your hands. Open your eyes. And come on up to your hands and knees. And begin cat and cow. This and that. Let's call it other names today. Talk about sassy. That is me. Inhale, exhale. Maybe get those hips involved. Ooh, that's sweet today. Who are you? You're absolutely perfect. How would you live if you weren't worried about tomorrow? Who would you be if all you needed to do was tune into yourself every day to see which way to go? It's interesting, there certainly are a lot of yoga studios that are closing in the area because of what's been happening, and certainly this is not going to happen with natural yoga, thank goodness. But I truly believe that wherever the universe wants us to go is where we're going to go, and therefore there's no fear. So if the universe wants this, walls to look different and our yoga studio to look different, so be it. And what I really do truly believe is that's going to be something that's even better. Downward facing dog. Lift those hips high to the sky. And then feel free to move yourself here, meaning bend one knee and then the other. Maybe bend both knees and send your hips high to the sky. That's it. Nice. Good. And then please step your feet up to your hands, standing forward bend. Deepen your breath here. Maybe even let your mouth open for your exhale. Blocks are quite nice here. Just let your head release, neck release, jaw release. And then bend your knees deeply, reach your arms forward and up, chair. Sit back, way back. Now, interesting enough, I want your feet to parallel, so I want you to look down at your feet, not separate them, just have them turn straight ahead. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Hands on your thighs, cat-cow here. Move your spine. You are the grace of the universe. We are the grace of the universe. We offer ourselves the opportunity to be whole and to be perfect and be as is. Please stop trying to change yourself. Just refine yourself, right? Refine the places that are serving you and that are not serving you. That's it. And then reach your arms up and alongside those ears. Rise up to stand. Take a little baby back bend. And then bring your hands to your heart center. Close your eyes for a minute. I promise to be me. I'm tired of being somebody else. I promise to be me. And search inside of myself to see what that really truly means. Eyes open, inhale the arms to the sky. Exhale, bow forward. Good, send your left leg back behind you. Take both hands inside your right foot. So both hands on the floor inside your right foot, Susan. You got it. Yep. Make sure your knee is pointing right at your second toe. And then kind of move from a way that you're going to straighten that front leg, straighten that right leg, and then come up to that heel, lift up onto that heel, and then widen your right butt out to the right. So slide your right hip out toward the right. And then slide that hip back in and bend that knee and plant that foot and come forward. And then do that a couple of times. Come back, lift up onto the heel, draw the hip wide, scoop the low belly, and then come back, bend the knee, plant the foot. Continue like that. Lift, turn that toe in. Add your breath here. Good. The next time that you bend that knee, plant that foot. Now tack that left hip crease, right hip crease back. So you have a nice little feeling of that right hip drawing back, but now widen that sit bone. So same way you push that butt wide, do it now. And then walk your hands up to the upper left-hand corner of your mat. So your hips stay steadfast, right? It's wide, there's space there. The knee is pointing at the second toe. The shin is hugging in. And then open and close your mouth so there's no tension. Create space. I want space for you and for me. I want to grow this space and adorn this space. Good. Keep walking to the left until you come to the center of your mat. Keep walking, walking, walking. Turn your feet so they parallel each other. So you're in a big, wide-legged, facing the wide, long side of your mat. And then if you'd like to bend one knee and then bend the other knee, kind of shift from side to side. Yeah, Eliana, nice. And then maybe even bending both knees at a certain point, letting the pelvis release. So behind me is Veronica. So in case that my words are not making sense, you're newer to my practice, you can always look up. But in saying that, try to hear what I say and let your ears, like this idea of listening is so powerful for us as yogis, right? Listen inside, listen outside, listen. Good, and then come to this stillness for a moment. Just enjoy the breath. You can allow your head to drop or let your head stay in line with your ears. You can come up to your tippy toes if you'd like to create that length at the backs of the legs. And then as high as you can go, then lower your heels, but keep your hips super high. Scoop your low belly navel in. And then walk your hands back. Place your hands on your hips. Press down through your legs. Rise up to stand. Rise up, rise up. I sound just like her. And then wiggle your feet in just a little bit. And then turn your toes wide and come into a high squat. Bend your knees here. Your knees are pointing right at your second toes. Inhale your arms over the top of your head. Interlace your fingers and press your palms up. Again, make sure you're not taking this in your jaw. Lightness of being, even though there's great work happening here. This is the secret of a yogi. I do great work with the lightness of being. Good. Inhale, straighten those legs. Turn your feet back parallel to each other. Clasp your hands behind your back. Make sure your shoulders are lifted. You're not feeling the sense of the head of the shoulders falling forward. Pull them back. Inhale deeply. Exhale, bow. Relax your hands to the floor. Walk your hands to the front of the mat. Step back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Roll forward to plank pose, that upper push-up. Good melody. And then lower down slow, 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 slow. Good, let the pelvis touch the floor as you rise up to cobra. Drag your hands back, drag your heart forward. Press back to child's pose just for a breath. All the way back, hips back to toes, just for a breath. Navel in, ribcage lifted. All the way up you go, downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward, please. Both hands inside your left foot. And then again, find that balance of straightening that left leg coming up to the heel. And then turning the toes in and shooting that left hip wide. And then replacing, bending the left knee and placing the foot on the floor and looking forward into lunge. You got it. Come on back and straighten the leg. Turn the toes in. Widen the hip. Bend the knee. Come into that lunge. Breathe here, moving forward and back like that. And check in with your breath. Good. Next time you bend that knee, walk your hands forward. Upper right-hand corner of your mat. So there's a difference when you let the rib cage just drop to the floor. You overarch in the spine. So find the power of the navel. Lift up through the navel. Shoot out through the heart. Even rounding in your back body is very satisfying to your kidneys, your adrenals. Tacking that left hip crease back. Kind of sweet to pull your left low belly away from the top of your left thigh. That's why we're working our way slightly to the other side. And then go ahead and straighten up and walk all the way to the side of the mat. Go, go, go until you're in Prasarita Padottanasana. Walking toward that right. Yeah. And then bow here. This deep bow, this deep remembrance of why I'm here. I go back to the essence of who I am. Liz and I, we've been talking, we met in kindergarten. And I truly believe, and we have a lot of teachers here online this morning, we learn everything when we're in kindergarten, right? Everything about how to live as a human being, how to share, how to listen, how to be kind. But at the same point, we show up as us, right? When we're in kindergarten, we don't put on any false crap. No, we scream when we want to scream. We don't share when we don't want to share. We show up exactly as ourselves. Well, now we've become a little more refined. We understand how to share. We understand that we can't have a meltdown every 5 minutes. But all those teachings that we learned then are exactly what we're supposed to do now. Be ourselves, be you. Hands on your hips, push down through your legs, rise up to stand. Turn your feet slightly in, and then turn your toes out. Bend your knees, and inhale your arms up to the sky. So you're still facing that long side of your mat. Interlace your palms, press them up. Keep your rib cage drawn in, your navel in. When you draw the navel in, though, you guys, the sit bones seem to scoop, your tailbone seems to scoop underneath you, so push that back and wide. Breathe deeply here. Let the armpits get more hollowed out. Get the length through your arms. And then lift up, straighten those legs, turn the feet back parallel to each other. Take your hands behind your back, clasp your hands. Inhale, exhale, bow forward. Good. Inhale. Exhale, release your hands to the floor. Walk your hands to the front of the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Roll forward to plank pose. Lower all the way down to your belly. Rise up into cobra. Lift your head, neck, and chest. Open your mouth, stick out your tongue. Press back to child's pose for a breath. And then rise up into cobra. Rise up into dog. Into something. Into dog cobra. Cobra dog. Inhale that right leg back and up behind you. Down dog split. Open up that hip. Let it open. Be wild. Some of you be more wild and let that foot fall behind you. Let it fall behind you as you lift your right hand up and step that right arm behind you as well. They named this wild thing. Good. And then reach that hand back down if you lifted it up. Take that leg back and up again. And then step that right foot forward for lunge. Inhale the arms to the sky, high lunge. If you're 25 steps behind us, celebrate that. And who freaking cares? That's my big thing. I love how many questions that Jen and I have been asked about, can we do this? Can we buy this? Can we do this? Can we show up for this? And we're like, whatever you want to do. That's our answer. You make it up and we'll say yes. Clasp your hands behind you. Lift your shoulders as high as you can so there's a lot of space in your chest to breathe and to sing your song, and then bow forward. So you're balancing forward bend here. That's it. Go ahead, let your head touch the floor. It's almost there. At home, your floor is higher than it is at the studio, I've noticed. Hands touch down to the floor, downward facing dog. So for those of you that are newer to me, maybe these vinyasas are too much, so you want to rest in child's pose. For those of you that want to take plank, lower down through your vinyasa, rise up. Vinyasa is just a way of flowing with your breath. So if you're still and your mind is flowing and your breath is aware inside of you, right? There's an awareness, your breath, your mind, you're doing vinyasa. Take that left foot forward, left leg back and up behind you, and then open up that hip if you'd like. And if you have never done wild thing before and you think, oh my God, if I lift my left hand off the floor, I'm going to fall. Yeah, you are. So go ahead and do it. Fall backwards, fall back, fall back. Yes. Watch that navel, pull it in, and then come back. Take that left leg all the way back and up behind you. Nice, Nancy. And then send that left foot forward. Inhale those arms to the sky. Lauren, just be careful. You're really close to the water there. Clasp your hands. Don't fall off that cliff. Clasp your hands behind your back. Take a breath in and bow forward. Gorgeous, you guys. Touch down, hands to the floor, and then take it back. Vinyasa of choice or resting in downward facing dog or child. Remember, Avashisthasana is always recommended at some point in the practice. What does that mean? Well, let's do it together now. Come forward to plank. Right hand holds you. Stacking your left leg on top of your right leg or lowering your bottom knee is amazing. Lowering your bottom knee. Left arm to the sky. Left rib cage high, higher, higher. And the left arm over your ear. Yeah, breathe those left ribs. And then lower that left hand down. Place your weight into your left hand. Slide your whole body over to that left hand, stacking your right leg on top. Lift those hips high. Slide the arm over your ear. Get those ribs to lift. Gorgeous. Lower down and take your knees to the floor. Press back to the child's pose or sit on your heels, right? You can sit on your heels or between your heels. Find your breath again, especially when we move a little quicker. There's this tendency to hold the breath. Welcome back, Larry. We missed you. There's a little competition going on. It's Susan D. and Larry who are almost here every single day. Just saying. Just saying. The rest of you, we love you so much. So much. So much. I know some of you have jobs. I know. I realize that. Got it. Some of you are working from home. What are we doing? We're making this world work. We're so creative. For that, I'm so grateful. Walk your upper body to the right side so you create that space in the left side body. Would you be if you weren't afraid of the future? If you weren't worried about where the world was going and you knew it was going somewhere very special? I think of it like a wedding planner, that you have a vision for what you'd like your world to look like, but you have no idea how to do it. You give all the information to the wedding planner and then they make it happen. I feel like that's exactly what's happening with the universe. Set your vision and let the universe organize around that. Let the universe figure out how it's going to happen. Go to the other side, please. And some of us are getting in that place where it's like, oh my God, I have to do this, I have to do that. The world is now online and I have to create this and I have to create that. Okay, you can do that if that is exactly what your heart's asking you to do, but don't be a little gerbil running as fast as you can because you think you have to. Don't do that. Rest, meditate, pray, and see where your life is leading you and go there. And then let the universe organize itself around that. Let the details be figured out by the universe, your wedding planner. Good. Come on back up. Downward facing dog. You know, you can argue with your wedding planner if you want to. Right foot forward, Virabhadrasana 1, first warrior. But your wedding planner has, like, you know, they've done this before. They kind of know what works and doesn't work. Good. I'm into Vera 3 lately. I think it's because it's that, like, little rise up with Alicia Keys. So bring your hands to your heart center, spin up your back heel. And then do everything you can to find your internal energy first. So navel's in, sit bones are wide, shoulders are back, throat is lifted, and then find yourself moving forward, balancing on that right leg, lifting your left leg into Virabhadrasana 3. Point the back toes down toward the floor, lift your shoulders even higher. And then clasp your hands behind you. Clasp your hands behind you. And start to lean forward. I know you have no hands to touch down, but you will if you need them. But if you don't need them, free fall here. And then gently let your hands float to the floor. Or let them fall. Good. So you're in a standing split. Your front toes are turned straight ahead, so be really cautious of that. And then bend your knee, your right knee, and move your right knee a little wider. Your right knee. Yeah, and then straighten that right leg by pushing through your thigh. Now you can also, you're still in standing split, you can always bend your right knee again. That's your standing leg. And then shoot your left leg even a little higher. It's a way to trick your back leg, that Hanuman leg, to lift a little higher. But keep feeling like you're squeezing those legs toward each other. So there's power in those legs. Good. Now bring your hands to your heart center and see what it looks like to rise back up, to rise back up. Third warrior. third word. Keep that back leg lifted or lift it again. And then step back, high lunge. Nice thing. Step back, high lunge. And then touch down, hands to the floor. Downward facing dog. Play. Any type of a vinyasa or resting child, drop down to your knees. Just take a rest. Take that little wild thing back again, or Vashisthasana. Beautiful, Roz. Nice job. Left foot forward when you're ready. High lunge. Oh, warrior one. I don't know what I'm doing. Good. The beauty of warrior one is the idea that you have in front of you. You see the world in front of you, right? You're clear. There's a clarity in warrior one. Ah, I see what battle I'm fighting right now. But it's never the outer battle. It's always the inner battle. What stirs you up? What triggers you? Are we bowing forward or we're just coming into here through? Okay. Hands at your heart center. Lift up the back heel. And then again, use the internal navel as you draw it in, and then draw yourself forward. Fall into that left foot. And there's such beauty here as you lift up into that balance, because there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of wobbling in that left ankle. And all of that is important for you. Clasp your hands behind your back. And then slowly begin to bow forward. Begin to know this sense of uncertainty is absolutely perfect. And let the hands float down to the floor. And then play a little bit by bending the left knee, widening the left inner knee. Even here, scoop the low belly. So the navel pulls up toward the heart, but then you got to push your sit bones wide. You got to open up those inner thighs and push those legs to straight. Going through the bending and straightening, it's very clear that you can get some good stuff going on in here. Bend and straighten, scoop. Back body rounding a little bit. Good. And then from that internal power, lift your hands back up to your heart, coming back through Vera 3, lifting back up. And stepping back, high lunge, reaching the arms up to the sky. Gorgeous, beautiful breath here. And then touch down, hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Good, come forward to plank. Lower down to your belly. Turn your cheek to the side and rest for a moment. Enjoy. Please try to know this internal Gita, this inner song, this inner music. Please try, Shri says. And if you have any difficulty or any complaint, please contact the author. The author is you. The I am, the divine energy within you. Contact your Gita, your God essence. If you have any complaints. A person can live without outer music, but he or she cannot live without the inner music. And when you do not connect with your inner music, if you avoid it, then you will go outside of yourself and create war outside of yourself. Real life begins when you tune into your Gita, to your song. And so many of us are doing this, you know. This is not to say that you're not doing this on a big level. I get it. I am too. Especially at home, what happens is we come up against ourselves. Every turn we make, we run into ourselves. And that's good. That's why we're doing this. Be you, please. And I'll be me. Turn your cheek to the other side. Good. Turn your forehead to the mat and then reach back for your ankles. I'm curious what it would feel like if you took your rib cage, and even though I want it to be soft, your lower ribs, I want you to feel them touch the floor. So you connect deeply down into the floor. I want you to take the pubic bone and reach that down into the floor as well. So there's such a connection in that front body to the floor, but pull your navel in. And then from here, start to lift the legs and don't worry about your head coming up. Your head can come up for sure, for sure. Your head can come up, but I want you to think more about the power in the pelvis, the power in that rib cage. And as you start to lift the knees, let them come higher, let them come higher. Toes spreading. Don't worry about lifting the head. Pull the heels away from you, pull the feet away from you. Lift higher, knees up, knees up, knees up, even if that means your forehead has to come down. Connection to the floor. And then release down, please. Remember, if those reaching back for those ankles does not work, Cobra at its best works extremely well. Okay, reach back for those ankles again. Let your rib cage feel like it's touching the floor, but pull the navel in. Let the pubic bone feel like it's pushing into the floor, but now take your sit bones back. Go ahead again, lift up, and again, you're holding those feet, so I'd rather the knees come higher in this moment, reaching those knees higher. You're thinking of pushing down, connecting to the floor, and taking those feet higher, feet higher. Yeah, yeah. Good, now start to take your head back to touch those heels, so your head's coming back because you have those knees so high. And then relax, come on down, and press back to child's pose. Happy Mother's Day to all our mommies. Happy Mother's Day to all of you who mother others. Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers. Okay, come on up. And I want you to come up onto your knees. You can face me, Veronica. And stretch your right leg out to the right. Come on up to your right heel. Draw it down and back. Sliding your right hand down your right leg. Take your left arm over your ear. Side stretch. It's called gate pose. You're sliding down the extended leg. The knee is right underneath the hip for security and stability. Stability more than security. Good. Pull that arm back, Larry, just a little bit. Yeah, open up that shoulder. Nice, Jane. And then take that left hand down to the floor next to your left knee and lift that right leg up to the sky. All right, so you did the bow pose on the floor, so I want you to think again, what does it take to feel this pelvic floor, this energy of this pubic bone and rib cage being stable? And then sit bones go wide and then reach back for that ankle. And then kick that foot back, kick the foot back, 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 back. Good. And then gently release. Make sure that breath came with you. Come on up and we'll change sides. We'll place that right knee down and take that left leg out. Slide up onto that heel. Roll that left arm down that leg. Lift the right arm up and over. Nice, Gita. Good, Carol. And then come on back and place that left hand on the floor and lifting up. Yes. Good. Reach back for that ankle. Power up your core body. So as you reach that knee back, you are so stable. Nothing can knock you over here. You reach that leg back. You open up that chest. Open up that throat. Lean back. Head touches the heel. I know it doesn't, but it does. There it is. Nice. And release, downward facing dog. Good. Now you know how you did Vashyastasana where that you came to plank? I want you to think of Vashyastasana here in dog. So I want you just to turn your feet so that your left foot starts to stack on top of your right, but your hips are nice and high. So you're kind of between a dog and a plank is where you are. And so the idea here is that you're going to keep your bottom foot super stable and planted. Your bottom foot, which is your right foot, almost stays flat on the floor. So walk your hands back so that happens. Almost flat. Good. And then you lift your left leg up. And then maybe take your left arm up. Maybe that left arm comes up, but you're putting all your weight into that right foot. And then maybe reach back for that ankle, maybe. Push through that standing foot, push. Or just take your Vashyastasana the same way you have been. Good. Don't check out. Try the other side. Don't leave. There's no way for me to stop you. Good. Try the other side. You're just putting your weight into your left foot like you're standing. So you got to lift those hips high. And maybe you just take the right foot slightly off the mat. Maybe it only comes a little bit off the mat, right? Doesn't matter. Remember, if you fall back, you're doing the wild thing. Good. And come on back. Drop down to those knees and press back to child's pose. It's funny, right? If you fall out of something, you fall into something else. And maybe that something else was exactly what you've been asking for all your life. Choose you, because you will always win. You will always be victorious. Don't choose to be somebody else. And it's hard because unconsciously we take on everybody else's stuff, right? Or we want to be what everybody wants us to be. Choose you. It's what the universe wants of us right now. Choose you. And we will be victorious. We will find a better world. We will look up. We will rise up. We will look at each other. How much more are you looking at each other when you're taking walks? How many more highs and how are you saying than you ever have before? Come onto your hands and knees. Thread the needle. Take the right arm out to the right. Thread it underneath the left. Let your right ear come down to the mat. Let your left arm do something magical. So maybe the left arm reaches up to the sky. Maybe it reaches over your ear. Maybe behind your back. Important, if you're reaching it behind your back, you keep that shoulder lifted, so don't let the head of that shoulder fall forward. Be stable in those shins, hug in through those shins. You're breathing deeply here. You're minding your mind. And then come on up. Change sides, second side. Your rib cage loves this kind of squeeze and twist. Your organs love to have that kind of massage. exciting. Come on up. So I'm going to trust you to do camel. And why I say it like that is often in camel, we shoot the rib cage forward, we over arch the spine. So I want you to come on up to your knees, hands on your hips, maybe a blanket underneath your knees if you need it. And then press down through your knees to get that energy of moving downward. Hug in through your shins so you have the stability of those legs. If you don't trust your legs, put a block between your shins. And then as you start to lift up, take your arms out to cactus and lift your chest a lot. Push the ribs forward as if you're pushing them into the floor, just for a minute. Then draw them in through the navel and start to lean back. So that power that happens from inside of you allows you to protect the low back. And then maybe take your hands to your low back and press down there, or maybe take your hands down to your ankles. Maybe your feet are tucked. Maybe the tops of your feet are on the floor. And again, I want to push into the floor, imaginary floor with my ribs, but then pull my navel in and lift my chest a lot. Shoulders up and back, side body really long, throat long. Come on up and downward facing dog. Beautiful. Walker jump to squat. Chair pose is also very nice here if squatting doesn't work for you. It's like we're moving up the chakras during this time of isolation or being asked to stay more inward. First, it was that feeling of survival, right? Everybody running to the stores and buying everything they possibly can to make sure that you're fed and that you're taken care of. Now we're moving up through the energy. We went through creativity, also very important. How can I creatively live in this time of where we are? Now we're moving into the I am. Can I please connect? Can I please be me? Because I'm very necessary right now. Take your hands to the floor, come into a standing forward bend. Open and close your mouth so that the jaw relaxes. And place your hands on your hips, push down through your legs, rise up to stand. Feet together, feet straight ahead, not together, feet straight ahead. And then relax your arms alongside the body, turn your palms face forward, close your eyes and breathe. And if there's nothing to worry about, you're going to be just fine. Whatever the world looks like, you'll be just fine because the essence of you is always perfect. Good. Open your eyes, draw your left knee into your chest. Come into tree pose, placing your right foot, left foot into your inner right thigh. Now watch that your hip points are both in the same line, or it's not so much that that knee goes wide, but that the hip points stay square to the front of your mat. Scoop the low belly. Maybe even lean forward for a minute so you can feel the inner thighs moving back and wide. And then as the low belly comes in, the navel comes in, then lift up the chest and take your arms up to the sky. The Isha Upanishad reminds us that we are a product of the perfection of the universe, the wholeness, the completeness. Good. What would it feel like to pull up just a little bit more through the arms, but root down a little bit more through the leg? Find that balanced action of heaven and earth here, even in your wobbling, even in your falling. And then release that down. Smile. And take a breath. And let's try the other side when you're ready. Right foot, right knee comes into your chest. Now the deal is, and I didn't say this on the other side, but either put the foot above the knee or below the knee. If you put it on the knee can get pushed a little too much. We don't want that, so above or below. And then take your arm position and find that balance between heaven and earth, sky and earth, father and mother, father, sky, mother, earth. If you have friends that are very afraid of the future, have them join us this afternoon at 3 o'clock. We might sound a little woo-woo, but that's okay. Maybe in our woo-woo, they'll be like, oh, yeah, you are a little woo, but something inside me kind of likes that. Good, release down. Good, lie on your back, please. I remember when I started my green medicine training, my green witch training. Go ahead and lay on your back and bend your knees and plant your feet. And I remember the first song that Robin sang was, to all the trees, and I don't know. It sounded a little woo-woo, but I liked it. Right? That's part of us, is being able to tap into those places that resonate deeply with our soul, even though on the outside they seem a little, oh, that's a little, what is that? Right? Because we're meant to be these beings that celebrate uniqueness within us. And until we truly embrace that, we're living in a place that's not authentic, and therefore we suffer. Good. Since we are doing back bends, go ahead and lift yourself up into bridge pose. So take those hips high to the sky. If you're feeling like I'm exhausted, that's, one too many back bends, you're welcome to take a block and place it underneath your sacrum. If you're newer, that's a restorative back bend. Feels quite nice. Lift that chin up. Soften through the throat. Breathe deeply. Again, make sure those shins draw in, so the leg power is extremely important here. You just don't lift your hips and hope the legs are there for you. No, engage through the legs. Hug those shins in. Good. I like that, Yasmin. Push down through the shoulders. Let the elbows and the shoulders lift the chest, and then soften the ribs. So feel the ribs lift up as if they were pressing into the floor like bow, but then engage through the navel, and then let the chest lift a little bit more. Good. And then lower the hips down, bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees drop open. And then I'd like you to take yourself into what we call three-part breath. So you inhale, pause, inhale, and then release. So it's 3 breaths in on 1 breath. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Exhale, open the mouth. Do that a couple of times. Pause at each little pause. Each time you pause, you actually pull the diaphragm. Diaphragm then has this little moment of contraction. So that's going to get your breath power, the power of your breath to get stronger. And you can exhale through the nose too. That's totally cool. I just have found that sometimes exhaling through the mouth is making me just let my nervous system drop just another notch. Your nervous system is completely connected to your gut. So the more that we are feeding the gut, whether it's food, drink, emotions, our nervous system can be off along with everything else that's happening. So feed yourself breath here that's helping to regulate that nervous system. been drinking an infusion of nettle and violet, which are both out for us right now in the world, in your gardens. If anybody has excess violet, let me know. I will come cultivate it for you and I will give you something in return. If you don't know what violet is, look it up. See what it looks like. Maybe your yard is covered with it. I'm in love with the weed violet because it is there for us for this energy of the heart of love, of conditioning what we've conditioned all these years and helping to let that go. And also is there for our digestion. And nettle is all there for our immune system, immune health. And these are weeds that are in your garden that some people pick and get rid of. I want them. I'll give them to you as an infusion if you give them to me. As long as you don't put any pesticides on your yard. And I'll do something in the future, near future, about making infusions from your yard. I'll do that soon. What's an infusion? What's a tea? What's the difference? Okay, and then let the breath go. Hug your knees into your chest. I'm going to give you an option to go into shoulder stand, which will take your legs up to the sky, your hips up to the sky. If you want to put a blanket behind your shoulders, remember your blanket doesn't go behind your neck though. Super important, shoulders is where the blanket goes if you're using a blanket. If you don't know about shoulder stand, maybe for today just take your legs to the sky, only because I can't help you unless I see what you're doing. I mean, I'll try to, I'll look around. And then the other thing is if you're a headstander and you really love headstanding, feel free to go into a headstand, maybe against a wall. Or if you're a free-flowing headstander, feel free to walk up into that. I am very clear that if you are not a headstander, you're not going to try that right now. There's that little meme that says, how many times a day do you say to your kids, I am not going to the hospital with you? Cut that out. Nice. Inversion of choice. Keep breathing. If you really don't want to invert again, just legs straight up to the sky. And if that's really something you're like, I'm just not in the mood to do that, come up and sit and just meditate. It's all good. Maybe one more minute here. If you're in shoulder stand, keep breathing deeply. If you're in headstand, keep breathing deeply. Wherever you're at, meet yourself there and become really dear friends. Good, and then begin to find your way back down to your mat. Either if you were in shoulder stand, if you feel like taking fish pose, stretch your legs straight out, lift your whole upper body up and take the crown of your head onto the mat. Same way Veronica's doing it. If you're in headstand, child's pose is always a nice option. And then find yourself coming back to lay on your mat, hug your knees into your chest. Lift and shift your hips to the right, let your knees drop to the left into spinal twist. And lift and shift your hips to the other side. And then I have one more song for you, also by Alicia Keys. The first one we did was Underdog. We were celebrating no matter where you are in your life, whether you're that single mother waiting for a paycheck, whether you are the person who's on the front line, whoever you are, be you. And the second song, Go Ahead and Release Your Legs into Shavasana, is Good, Good Job. Breath in and out. Let your body begin to stretch and yawn in any way that serves you well. Draw your knees into your chest, roll to the right side, come on up to sit. Bring your hands together at your heart center. Maybe together rise up. Our own unique special energy is very needed right now. And I thank you for that. Deep breath in for the sound of Om. Release your hands. Open your eyes.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you
Thank
guys
you,
so
Sheryl.
much. You're welcome.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Great.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome so